Hello and welcome to the Patreon portion of the Game of Thrones show. Thank you for supporting us, and say hello to Maude, Garrett!
No one actually said hello.
Hello.
It's simple instructions.
Hello. Didn't hear one hello over there.
Yeah, I had it.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, brother.
We have one audience member, thank you. So, kicking it off, Maude, overall, do you know what Game of Thrones is?
Man, I'm so glad that this season's going to come to an end because I don't ever want to wait 2 years to see this show again. That was too hard. Lovely to be back. It's got a different vibe and feel this time, doesn't it?
That intro, that intro is beautiful.
It's like I spent 7 years fast forwarding 2 minutes.
Did you really?
When I did the rewatch,
Okay.
I fast forwarded all previously on, and then I fast forwarded the intro, just to get straight into the meat of it all.
Yeah.
And this time, what I think we were talking about it before, we've spent 7 seasons learning intimately about these characters, and there are so many pairings and different kind of like people meeting and other people that we haven't they haven't been in the same room for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
You know, they're joining back up again, and it's kind of like a reunion, and it's wonderful while still moving forward. So it was good. I liked it. I really like the fact that Sir Davos, Tyrion, and Varys are chatting.
All the old guys.
I love it. I love it. I love
That
it.
was actually one of my favorite lines is when Varys is getting candid about like, yeah, they respect us, but they don't have context for we represent the thing that none of them want to face. It's like, oh, that's
Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, that's some hard truth right there. You know what I mean? But also, they're the ones because there is an appreciation that these characters have for each other just for surviving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
and so the old guys you should respect more. Dude, what is old Davos been through?
We saw
Come
that
on.
particularly with the Hound and Arya.
Yeah.
You left me to die, and she's like, yeah.
I robbed you first.
Yeah. And it's
That was
just like,
such a
well,
good joke.
you know what? You're still alive, so I can't fault you. Good on you.
Speaking of jokes, there's a lot of ball jokes in this. Now that we're behind the Patreon wall, so I appreciate
Now,
we're
wait,
talking
I was
balls
gonna say-
down there.
balls down there.
Yeah.
Balls. I
I
thought you said
bald.
bald.
Yeah, they
And I'm
like
like,
started
bald
the
nub.
episode with that.
Yeah.
Sam got there first.
Yeah, I
He's
said
like-
it, and then Tyrion made the joke about it.
Yeah, because when they're marching, it's like, oh, must be cold. And Sam's like, oh, at least they're, you know.
Balls.
Snip, snip.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, I love the opening. That was always one of my favorite things to watch as someone who had read the books then going into the series, because I was like, ooh, what areas are we going to this episode?
Yeah.
And the opening only showed you
Where they were
the
going.
areas where they were dealing with in each episode. So I've
And now
always been a fan of the openings. But this season, man,
Just 2.
the fine caviar of openings.
Yeah,
Thank
it was.
you.
That was cool.
Yeah, because it's just the 2 places, but
This
you
is
get to
it.
see all the inner workings. And again, I think that's what this show does really well, is just the inner workings of the characters and what motivates them and why they're doing what they're doing, which is why it's so meaningful when you see like the last shot is Bran and Jaime like staring each other down.
I've got a theory on this one, though. You know, he calls him a friend, but really we've seen more and more that Bran has detached and disassociated himself as Bran completely. I'm not Bran. I'm no longer
Oh, you
Bran.
think he's not even waiting for Jaime?
Well, I mean, when I first heard that, I'm the only one. I thought he was talking about Jon because he's called him a friend, not brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like he kind of like
interesting.
moved that relationship.
I thought where you were going with that is an old friend, and he's sitting there waiting for the Night's King because he's the only one he's interacting with is the 3-eyed Raven.
I mean,
Yeah, good point. I don't hate that either.
What were some highlights for you, Maude, overall from this episode?
I was going to say Dany's sass, but the sass is actually getting to me, and I think a lot of people are just being like, come on, back up. But when you really think about it, a lot of men rulers have been like that, and it's been fine. But then when Dany does it, everyone's like, sit down. And she's like, no, she's the queen. She's the rightful heir, and she wants respect, and she's demanding respect. But I do like these sassy moments that she has with Jon, because I think Jon can have the personality of a wet piece of cardboard from time to time, and so it's kind of lovely to see their dynamic when there's like, you know, throbbing boners in place.
Interesting, yeah.
If
Every which way.
If those crazy kids can make it work, I think they'd be a good ruling couple.
I think that'd be
really
great.
Do.
And Varys and Tyrion and
Davos.
oh my God, help me out here.
Yeah.
There's
Davos.
so many characters. They even mentioned
So
that.
Davos here,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
onion knight.
They
Oh, yeah.
proposed a proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Things
don't
are
know
going to
whether
get
that'll happen.
complicated soon.
This is. I heard you mention earlier where it's like John's biggest concern was the fact that he didn't want to, like he was happy to bend the knee. He's like, it is yours.
No.
You
Yeah.
deserve it. Rightfully yours. And then it's like, it's yours. And he's like, I don't even want it.
Yeah.
We had a really good arrangement. I don't think he's actually going to reveal the secret. I think he's going to bury the secret.
Well, I have a question because did we all watch the next episode? Okay. Do we actually think we're going to get to the big battle next episode, or will it be leading up right until like, oh, they're here, roll credits,
Well,
and
actually-
then episode 3 because they released the runtimes of episodes.
Yeah.
Episode 3 is where the runtime starts jacking
it.
up. These
Then
first
yes.
2 are like,
I would say battle on the longer episode.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we've
All
got the Umbers have been taken out. Next will be the Karstarks. Because did you see the girl who represents the Karstarks was
Yep.
in this episode? And they just spent a little bit too long on her face to be like, Psst, remember her. So I think that's going to happen in the next episode. So they're going to obliterate the Karstarks. And that means the North is completely isolated with no other help. And then they might go
Yay.
Winterfell, or Night King's going to ride on Viserion and just go, Psst, and then blow up King's Landing with that ice breath.
I
Fire breath.
do.
Ice
I
fire.
like that fan theory a lot of just kind of just skipping over. You got a F-17, whatever plane names are. You got something. You got a plane. Just go ahead and scoot on down to like the prize, and then you'll be good to go. Nathan today actually in the Discord asked us, "Do you think the Battle of Winterfell?" They said that the Battle of Winterfell would be episode 3, but the preview makes it look like it's next episode. Do you think that battle will extend across
maybe.
2 episodes?
Ooh.
Personally, I mean that sounds. The idea sounds cool, but if there's 6 episodes,
Yeah.
I don't want.
We don't have enough time. Oh, there's only
exactly
6, huh?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to get progressively longer and longer and longer. So I don't know if that's like that's super great for me. But I
Why?
just,
Your
like,
bladder's not big enough? What's going on?
I just wanted more to happen. I wanted to like I like the idea of grand scale battles and whatnot. It's beautiful, but I don't know if you need 2 hours worth of just a battle. Like Rogue One, the ending was like 2 hours of just one war, and I got tired.
The ending was a little long.
Yeah, but when the
Rogue One.
battle scenes are done as well as like the Battle of the Bastards,
What do you think
or
happens
the Battle
in
of
a war?
Blackwater Bay?
What do you think
like,
happens?
I
don't watch
get
the
like
whole
a
war.
weird lady boner for the battle scenes. I think they're fascinating. They're done so well in the series.
Here's
Yeah.
something that concerns me is I actually think one of the most boring dramatically battles in the show was Battle of the Bastards, even though epically, even
talked
though like
about this,
scales.
yeah.
I
epic,
got
just-
claustrophobia.
Just because it's one of the few times where it's clearly Ramsay bad guy, Jon good guy, and so it's not the same as like Battle on the Blackwater because you've got people you like on both sides, or the Loot Train battle because you've got people you like on both
Did
sides.
you feel the same way about Hardhome for that reason?
No, because Hardhome was just a complete shock. Because nobody, for me at least, I didn't expect nobody's going to run into the White Walkers. There's not going to be a big battle.
Did
so
it
they
hit
show up,
home?
and you're just like, I think at that moment you're like, it's just, and you might have just answered my question. My question is, do we think the battle at Winterfell will be similar because it's the Night's King, but maybe it'll be the same as Hardhome? It's just like, is anybody going to even get out of this? Like,
Yeah.
because with Hardhome, because it was so sudden, and at least for me, I had no idea it was coming. You're like, what even happens now? Like, is Jon going to get out? Because I didn't know if Valerian Steel could take him out. I just thought everybody
Right.
was nuked at that point.
And it hit home hard.
There we go. I was
For like
waiting to
3
say
minutes.
it.
3 minutes I was sitting on that. And I said half of it, and then I was like, no one heard me. I was like,
I
I'll
heard
wait.
you. I was like, where's she gonna go with this?
It hit-
Nice.
Is it gonna
It
hit
hit-
home? Is it gonna?
There it
you
is.
go. It worked out
Guys,
well.
that made me work so hard for it next time home.
I'm excited to see. Well, not excited, but I'm going to be interested to see. A bunch of our heroes are going to be seeing people that they know on the side of the White Walkers. Definitely at some point. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've only really had that once
Oh,
before, and that
yeah.
was when the wildling up the female wildling in the
Yeah,
north.
with the kids, and that was just matter that episode.
That's
so
it.
it was still effective.
But that was still, whew, yeah.
yeah.
But that's it. Like she saw children, and then she got up, and you're like,
Okay.
oh god.
So who do we
Yeah.
think's going to be White Walker chum before the end?
You
Jorah.
think- I mean,
100%.
okay. So here's the who.
Jorah. Oh, he's,
Oh, you're
he's
saying who do
definitely.
you think's going to die before the end to the
yeah,
White Walkers?
To become a White
Jorah,
Walker.
100%.
And then she's gonna have to kill him.
Yeah, 100.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people that we saw in that ending scene with the little boy who became a white, Tormund, Dolores Ed, Beric Dondarrion, I think a lot of those.
Beric-
Eric, I'm surprised he's even still around. Does he still function at this point?
Yeah, he's got a purpose, which is why he keeps getting brought back. But now he doesn't have Thoros to bring him back, so he has to do whatever it is
Right.
before he dies, live forever. Now,
Yeah.
I think if I were the Night King, I would take out Bran first. He is the most vulnerable, but he is also the most powerful. He's
Yeah.
got access to past and present and future, so whoosh, he can't run away. So it's like
Literally.
get him, and then does that change? Does
as
he
a-
absolve the powers himself? I don't know.
As a parallel, you could have Jaime having to protect Bran up in the tower to keep them away. But I mean,
Ooh.
that'd be great.
But you do have a dragon that could nuke that tower in 2 seconds. So like, where do
Totally.
you hide him?
Oh,
Do we
yeah.
think Dany's other dragons are going to make it?
One will die.
Wait, sorry.
Drogon's gone.
Other people were gasping. So wait, what were other people gasping? You were gasping.
I think that the question of what the Night King is after is the ultimate question to the entire series. If the Night King's after Bran, that gives credence to the Bran is the Night King theory. If the Night King is after King's Landing, why is the Night King after King's Landing? Like, what is the Night King's motivation? Our sole motivation up until this point has been to get south of the Wall, but why?
No.
10. They want a 10.
10.
They're real blue. They just want a bit of
There you go.
sunshine in their life.
They're
And everywhere they
burn.
walk.
They're gonna burn. I've tried to tan. I know that. I know that's trouble. They're gonna burn.
Okay, here's a theory about Bran with time travel. You know that when you go back in time and then you get to the point that you traveled from, so it's like past person and present person. It's like because then they go to the same spot.
Yeah.
So when the Night King comes to meet Bran, whoosh,
Maybe.
Here's what I think.
Bran becomes the.
he's always been it.
Here's the thing. I've never liked the idea that Bran is the Night King. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think there's any dramatic weight behind it. What would be interesting is what if the Night King does know the future because he kills Bran and absorbs his 3-eyed raven powers.
Bit of a rogue situation.
And so then you get your clothes looped that way, that the Night King knows stuff because he kills Bran in the future.
Oh my God, no! Jon Snow needs to absorb those powers because this
knows
whole
nothing.
season he knows nothing, and now he's like, I know everything.
And he just explodes. Kayla Marie 033, how do you think Dany is going to prove herself to the north? I thought we were actually going to get something in this moment of her doing like a fire display in the sky with dragons.
Even if it's like, oh, you look a bit cold.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. You know.
Do you think we will get a wedding like our fave smart boy suggested? I wonder who the smart boys are. Do you think Jon's parentage and their relationship? There we go. Let's break that apart. How do you think she's going to prove herself in some way to the people? And do you think there's going to be a wedding? And do you think the whole fact that they're related is going to be a stopgap?
Can I just let it happen?
Go ahead, Maude.
I just want to let it happen.
Yeah.
The wedding. I think
Well, just like, I just wait. I'm happy to wait a week and find out.
at first I thought that a wedding was going to be a good way to marry the North and the Targaryen army, but the way that it's been going where everyone's kind of like, you just bent the knee because you're in love. If there was a wedding at this point, I feel like the North might be even more
It
pissed.
proves them right.
It proves them right.
Yeah.
So I don't know that a wedding is the right way out. Now, whether that means we'll see it or not, who knows?
I think the only way the North will be happy is if they find that out and then they go, he is the true king. And then Daenerys goes, cool.
Either
all yours,
that,
bud.
or if Daenerys does something that earns their respect.
Maybe like stopping the White Walkers, because
Maybe.
I've been thinking, I rewatched season 7, and I've been thinking that the White King is the Night's King is kind of a feint that like we'll resolve that early in the season, and the real threat, because this show's been so invested in the human aspect of it, is Cersei. Her whole plan, like the Night's King, the heroes will win. But the Night King's going to basically wipe out everything they've got. And so then when Cersei's like marching in on them, it's like, well, what do we do now? And so maybe Dany proves herself by helping stop the Night King. So she's good. She's proved herself. And Jon's like, here's my parentage. She's like, you know what?
No.
I can humble myself and I'm okay with that. But too bad, because Cersei's here, not with her elephants, but she's still here.
No, I'm sorry.
We're gonna get the elephants. The
Timothys.
Now we've talked about it too much. That's a good one. Shout out to Timothy Oliphant. You want to come on the show? I know you're up in Santa Clarita sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
Justified is one of my favorite shows of all time.
I
So
don't think
please.
so. I think what's happening with Cersei, we are seeing more and more that she is blinded by her own rage and fury. So I think that she's tripping over her own skirts at the moment. And I do think that the Night King has always been positioned as a threat. It's like the cane toad in Australia, where this thing has no natural predator, you know? And so
Is that the video show me where those drivers were driving over them on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh.
So what's happening here is we haven't really seen him be threatened. The only thing that was close was a dragon, and so he bloody got one himself. He shot it down, and so he's got these ice spears all of a sudden, which, you know, the blood that was coming out of that thing was unnerving.
Yeah.
Torrential.
So we're not seeing him have a threat. Cersei, my God, she's like running out of people. Like she's abandoned.
Yeah.
She's been abandoned by everyone. Maggie
her
Frog's like,
desperate.
as soon as your 3 kids are done, whoosh, you're out.
But then we have to say, Cersei is playing the game pretty smartly, I would say, right now, and saying,
was.
let my enemies attack each other and thin out, because I know I don't have a huge army anymore. I know I don't have a lot of allies anymore. My only chance at winning this whole thing is to let them eat each other alive and then come in and take the pickings at the end.
Okay,
which is
so-
a smart move on her part.
real important question. would she have boned Euron if she had gotten her elephants? You know what I mean? Maybe it was the elephants were like, oh, man, I really am desperate for allies. Maybe Euron's the...
No, I think she boned Euron to legitimize the baby in her belly. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, because she had that smug look where he's like, I'm putting a little prince in you. And she's like, oh my God. Yes, you are.
We all thought it the same. Oh, let's help the audience make sure they're following what she's thinking right
But
now.
guys, we also know that Eurons don't make a right. So that's
Boom! Going on a t-shirt.
shit.
It's a good t-shirt. Also a question from Kayla. How do you think the North will react to the news of Jon's parentage when it comes out? And how do you think it's going to come out? I'm going to put an
Lady
addendum
Mormont's
on that.
she's going to be quite chatty.
Shout out to Hilda if anyone watches that on Netflix. She's the voice of Hilda and she's very talented. Hilda's probably going to be upset. She's getting out of there.
I think they're going to have a really hard time proving Jon's parentage because yes, Bran saw it in a vision, and yes, Sam found a book that says these two people were secretly married, but beyond Ned's first-person perspective of I saw this baby right after it was born and promised to take care of it, all we have is word of mouth.
Yeah, but to be
and
fair,
it's Sam, who no one really respects anyway, and Bran, who's like, no, I totally saw it. And they're like, shut up.
Yeah, but when it came to Littlefinger, Arya and Sansa were like, Bran told us, and then they murdered him. Everybody's like, cool.
That's
good enough for us.
The Vale had a problem with Littlefinger, from the get-go, because he was super manipulative when he took over the Vale, you know.
Well, I think the solution is, and I felt for a long time that Sansa's going to end up being Wardeness of the North. Like, that's what's going to happen. So I think maybe if it's Jon's like, hey, cool, I'll do the King's Landing thing. I was never really a Northerner to begin with. Yeah. And put Sansa in charge. She's way taller anyway, you know? If that matters to them, you know?
Well, it matters full stop.
Yeah.
It matters full stop. Tall people are better leaders.
Hey, Tyrion, you and I got to go with that, okay?
I did have a question for you guys. We've seen Bran warg into a person and control them in the past.
It went great.
Why can't he do that in the present? Why can't he do that now? Why can't he warg into someone right now?
Yep.
He could?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
He can totally do that.
He's a warg and a raven.
Can you do that with dead people? Can you
Like,
warg into dead people?
the guy right next to the Night's King and have him stab the shit out of him?
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I'm just saying some ideas that are just coming to my noggin right now.
The Night King knows every time he's a raven flying past, so he's going to know if he's
what is that connection? Again, that figuring out the Night King's goal and his association with Bran, I think, is the key to unraveling the entire series.
I think he was the original Brandon Stark.
That's a theory that's very
one of the
popular
first kings of the North. I think so. Bran was named after Brandon.
Also, when everything went to pants and Bran roared in, Night King grabbed him, and they had the show lingered on that for a long time. Like, hey, these are connected now.
Yep, he touched him.
No,
shouldn't have been touched.
Should have just hung out in the tree, man. Just stay in the tree.
And last thing I wanted to bring... Ooh, and we get the teleprompter to move in. There it goes. Yes, we have a fancy teleprompter now. Very fun. Zral13 asked us, how do you think Dany believes Bran that the Night King having her dragon? I want to switch this up just a little bit. What do you think they're going to do to prep, since they do... Dany, from my point of view, felt like she believed that. Like, there's no reason to not believe that.
Yeah.
How do they prep for that
you
now?
Didn't burn it,
We have the Scorpion, but that's down in King's Landing, or I might be wrecked.
That was one of my little nitpicks in the episode, is that's a huge reveal, and it's just like, Dany, and we move on to something else. And it's like, whoa, she just found out. Maybe we'll unpack it in later episodes, because like they made a big thing. Those are my kids, and those are the only kids I'll ever have. And now one of them
got an undead kid.
Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
I think it was a mixture of do I believe this information and things moving so fast that I don't think she's had time to unpack it yet. Yeah. That's at least how I interpreted that. But so the plan, this is how I think they're prepping for that. The plan that Arya handed Gendry and was like, can you make this? My thought is that's something to deal with the Ice Dragon. But we'll see.
What was it? It was like
you couldn't really see what it was. No one. I'm sure people on Reddit at this point have screen capped and tried to decipher.
It was like a trajectory. So like you clasp and it's like a crossbow, but with a spear.
And
so you can go.
That's why I thought maybe this is a dragon glass way to take down Ice Dragon.
I love it.